Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Codiak, and today we are looking at the future of World of Warcraft. Now, if any of you guys have been following the BlizzCon information, the updates, all of the things they've talked about, you'll know that there's a lot coming out in patch 7.1.5 and patch 7.2. So let's dive right in with patch 7.1.5. It's a small patch. It revolves around system changes, new rewards, and evergreen content. And guys, for you who don't know what evergreen content is, it just means content that lives in the world indefinitely. Content that's always going to be there, content that if you're, level 1 or level 110 or whatever, you can go do it. It's never going to be outdated. So that's evergreen content. One of the things that they're going to add into the game in patch 7.1.5 is Mist of Pandaria time-walking dungeons. Yes, 6 dungeons coming to the Mists of Pandaria land once again. Yet time-walking, not our favorite thing, but it is evergreen content. It's always going to be there. They'll add that back into the cycle of things, so that's something to look forward to. We also have the return of the Brawlers Guild. I know a lot of you guys are excited about this. Dozens of new bosses and a new system called Rumbles. Now, Rumbles introduced a raid level boss, and it actually pulls in all the players around the Brawlers Guild that are queued up. It's going to be shared rewards, just like a world boss, something like that. And some of the cool things you can get from that are tons of shirts and the Basilisk mount. Now, the Basilisk mount was data mined at some point in patch 7.1 or before. So that's the guess is that's the mount. It looks really cool. I'm hoping that's the one they put in the game, but we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be variations of it and all sorts of stuff like that. We're also looking at something called micro holidays in patch 7.1.5. Now, this is part of Blizzard's ongoing effort to create a living world. And a living world is just a world that constantly feels fresh. It constantly feels alive. So these are going to be small 1 or 2 day events, nothing big, nothing massive, but they're going to have a lot of stake in the server and the way that the server kind of interacts with each other. So there will be no mounts or pets with these micro holidays, but think of it like this. This is some of the examples they gave. January 22nd is going to be AQ Remembrance Day. Okay, AQ was a huge server initiative back in vanilla. They're bringing it back as kind of like a memorial day to it. You're going to be in Silithus. You're going to be doing some of the quests, some of the things you were doing back in vanilla, little things like that. There's also a volunteer guard day. There's an event called Hatching of the Hippogriffs, and there's something called Boat Day, which is kind of like a spring bake knockoff there. So some micro holidays, going to be 1 or 2 day events, lots of little cool things in there. Again, no mounts or pets, so it's not a requirement that you log on and do them, but if you want to be part of that living world, that is why micro holidays are coming into existence. Now, for any of you guys who are arena fiends, Blade's Edge Arena is getting a total refresh. No gameplay changes, guys, just visuals and the addition of a voice announcer. Now, I've been thinking that would be a really cool addition for some time. I do arenas sporadically, and it would always be really cool to have somebody just kind of announcing when somebody dies or when something big happens. I thought it would be a lot of fun, just kind of keeping the flow of the match going. So that's going to be a welcome change. Visuals definitely need an improvement, so Blade's Edge getting a nice refresher. And here's the big thing about patch 7.1.5, guys. It is going to be a huge, huge patch for class updates. A lot of people on the forums, online, on MMO Champion, Wowhead, no matter where you go, you hear people talking about classes not being balanced. So this is where they're going to do that. Large changes coming to the classes. One of the things they've talked about doing is rolling talents back into the class, especially talents that there's a 98, 95, something like that % chance that you're going to take that talent, right? So if there's a talent that you have to take this one, it's the only way you're going to perform, they may be rolling that back into the class, which I think is going to open up some new opportunities for utility, flexibility within a class and a spec. So that's going to be really cool. They're also going to be looking at the secondary stats. Secondary stats are in a very weird place right now. I've seen a lot of people actually talking about bringing reforging back. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but it is true because some classes and some specs have secondary stats that are ahead of their primary stat. So I'm talking about a mastery priority over an agility priority. And it just doesn't seem to be working the way Blizzard wants. Blizzard wants the item level to really dictate the gear, but it doesn't do that right now. So some of the sims that have been out there show that a stat stick trinket is still better than a proc trinket, or a neck piece that has a ton of a secondary stat is still better than something that's going to have a little bit more of an eye level boost. It's all about that secondary stat, and Blizzard wants to change that. I'm interested what you guys have to think about secondary stats. For the number junkies out there, please do not hold me as the gospel, because I am not a huge number junkie. I know what I know about my hunter and some of the other classes that I play, but secondary stats, should they be above primary stats? Should primary stats come back to the forefront? Really interested to hear what you guys have to say about the issue. Now, they're also going to be adding abilities back into the class. In Legion, they did something called pruning, and pruning was just kind of cutting away the additional abilities that they didn't feel were necessary. So they're going to be doing some reverse pruning and bringing some of those abilities back. Hunters are going to get all their traps back, or maybe some of their traps. We'll see what that looks like. And then Shroud of Concealment is coming back for rogues. So those are just some of the examples they've given us. We're also going to be looking at an artifact knowledge catch-up mechanic. They've touted that artifact knowledge there is a catch-up mechanic built into artifact knowledge, but now you're going to be able to purchase up to artifact knowledge level 10. Don't know how you're going to be able to do that, whether it be through gold or through a secondary token, something like that. But you can, or order resources, I guess you could say. But you are going to be able to purchase that artifact knowledge up to level 10. And this patch is going live right after BlizzCon, guys, so very soon it's hitting the PTR and it will be coming out, I assume, in the next month or two. It's not a huge patch. There's definitely some stuff that is going to make an impact on players. All right, so let's talk about the next big iteration in the game, patch 7.2, the Tomb of Sargeras. So this time we are going back to where we started our Legion adventure, but things are going to be a little different. We're going to really take our fight to the Burning Legion. And one thing that really shocked me, I read the notes, I was shocked. It said, establish a foothold, build a base, and I lost it. I lost it because I'm afraid that we're bringing back garrisons. I'm really afraid. But they did say it's going to be similar to the Isle of Quel'Danas, which was not a base building thing. It was more of a kind of landing point for quests and dungeons and things like that. It is a non-linear environment. So hopefully that is not a garrison in the works. I hope Blizzard learned from their mistakes. There are going to be new world quests, there are going to be class world quests, a new faction, and something called Legion Assaults, which I'm very excited about. If you guys have ever done Rift, or you remember the pre-patch to Legion, you'll know that the Burning Legion will kind of take over a zone, and that's kind of what they're going at here with this Legion Assault. Normal world quests will turn over into Legion-based world quests, and it'll be different for each zone. They are going to count towards our emissaries, and they are going to take place in in the world, in the environment with everybody else doing it. So once we take over that zone, it'll eventually cycle back into a normal zone. But if you do complete it, you actually get the option to do a 3-player scenario, which is class neutral. It doesn't matter if you're a tank, healer, or DPS, you'll be able to do it. So I'm really looking forward to that. Big thing here, guys. Flying is coming in patch 7.2. It is a second part to the Pathfinder. It's been added to the content. Once you do it, you will be able to get flying. There are no raid or dungeon requirements. It's all about outdoor world gameplay. And as you expected, it's going to be account-wide, which everybody wants. Nobody wants to do this 3-4 times. So one other cool thing they're adding into the patch 7.2 is epic class mounts. You can see right now some of these mounts look really badass. There is some contentious about, a Shadow Priest riding a golden eagle or whatever the hell it is, but they did a great job with these, I think. I'm really excited to get mine as a hunter. Some of the stuff looks really cool. I'm hoping that they add more to really make everybody happy, but we'll see. Epic class mounts, can't really complain about that. We have a new raid coming and a new dungeon. So let's start with the dungeon. We have the Cathedral of Eternal Night. It's a 4-boss dungeon. It's going to have normal, heroic, and mythic plus difficulties. And then we have a new raid called the Tomb of Sargeras. It is coming after the Nighthold, guys. It's a 9-boss dungeon. We've got Nagas, Pit Lords, Infernals, Jailers, and of course, Kil'Jaeden himself. We're taking on the Big Red Machine one more time. So another thing they're adding into the game is PvP brawls. They're week-long events, very similar to how you would see an Overwatch brawl type thing, and they're different PvP modes. So you have something a little bit different than what we're used to here. We have a South Shore versus Terran Mill. We have a Warsong Gulch where, you can cap the flag without requiring your own flag. We have something called Packed House, which is a 15 on 15. We have something called Winter Arathi, which is a low visibility frozen water event. And then we have something called Eye of the Horn, which is Eye of the Storm on ram mounts. So just a refresh of the PvP system, trying to get people back into PvP in a fun, less stressful environment. I guess that's what their goal is here, and to really refreshing it. So again, we're looking at artifacts. We're going to expand on the artifacts, new gold traits, new regular traits, 3 points with utility, and then you're going to actually be able to add an additional point to your 3 trait abilities. So those guys, those classes and specs that are really reliant on finding relics that tune into those 3 trait abilities, you're going to be able to add another point on top of all of that. So that's really going to elevate some of the classes. It's going to be a 15 more points overall, and obviously there's going to be more opportunities for artifact knowledge. Something really cool coming out with the artifacts as well is a new type of relic where it modifies 2 traits. So we're going to expect to see some type of hybrid relic coming in patch 7.2. 2 trait modifications, really looking forward to that as well. Another cool thing with the artifacts, there's going to be a new quest line. It unlocks new traits, the ones we just talked about, and actually a new appearance. And this is going to be rewarded through solo play and the mastery of your spec. One of the cool things they did tease at BlizzCon was the Guardian Druid is getting a werewolf bear skin, which looks like a total beast. Really excited to see what they do for the other classes. I'm hoping they're just as good. Little nitpicky things here, guys. They're doing some dungeon tuning, the heroic and mythic plus tuning. The difficulty and rewards are going to be retuned. They're actually going to break Kara into 2 sections. They're going to be adding a mythic plus Kara grouping there, and then you're actually going to be able to queue for Kara in the LFG, as well as Court and Arcway. So everything's kind of coming back into that LFG. They're retweaking some things, splitting Kara up, good stuff. And then finally, they're going to add a couple new Mythic Keystone affixes. Everybody's talking about the affixes if you're doing Mythic Plus, so new affixes coming. And then the final thoughts here, guys. Patch 7.2 was teased as coming soon. Who knows what that means? Are we talking early January? Are we talking February, March, April? Who knows what's going to happen? But as Blizzard promised, well, I guess they promised, but have they delivered yet is another question. They've expanded past 7.2. We're going to Argus. Now, for you guys who don't know, not into the lore, whatever, Argus is the original homeworld of the Eridar and the Draenei. It's a utopian world filled with magic and grandeur, very much the mage capital type, you know, elegant, things like that. It is the homeworld of Kil'Jaeden, Archimonde, and Velen, and it was corrupted by Sargeras, and it's kind of the origin story of the Burning Legion. So are we finally seeing the timeline of the Burning Legion end? Are we talking about total annihilation? Very interesting. I hope the Burning Legion is coming to an end. They've done a great job with Legion thus far. It would be really cool to kind of wrap this thing with a bow, totally annihilate the Burning Legion, and move on to the next challenge. Very interested to hear what you guys have to say about patch 7.1.5 and patch 7.2. Anything we talked about, let's talk about it. Leave us a comment below. If you're the first time watching our videos or on the channel, welcome. Feel free to like, subscribe. We're going to try and put out as much content as we possibly can about all of these changes coming to World of Warcraft. But for now, guys, my name is Codiak. This has been another video for Exile Power. We'll see you next time.